I just clicked on a random video, guys. It's called Consumed by the Apocalypse. I have no idea what this is going to be about. I have actually no idea what this is going to be about, but it might be about the apocalypse.
Of all the species to have ever lived, all but a tiny fraction have gone extinct. At some point in the future, the same fate will befall humanity.
That's true if you think about it, right? It's scary, but one day there will be a point where the human race will go extinct. Very likely, actually, it doesn't, right? If we spread ourselves through the universe and we're everywhere in the universe, then we're not gonna go extinct. Like, imagine you're the last human of all times. Imagine something happens, the apocalypse is happening, right? Global warming has killed us. Imagine you're the last human on Earth, man. What an epic achievement. What a title.
Trees. It might take eons, but extinction is unavoidable. The future is fraught with uncertainty, and the apocalypse never seems too far away.
Cosmic threats. Impact events. And once again, I say it very often, it might be boring to you guys, but I've seen a movie this year, which has been one of the greatest movies in recent years, called Greenland. The apocalypse is happening, but they're doing it very realistically. They look at human emotions and no bullshit, no heroism, just fucking how humans would react. I really, really enjoyed that movie. It was so successful, they're making a second part now. Great movie.
Nearly 800,000 years ago, an approximately 1 kilometer wide asteroid collided with Earth.
What I always think is really insane about asteroids is that they don't even have to be that big to kill the human race. If an asteroid is the size of Manhattan, that already fucks the planet up because of the speed and the power. Like, an asteroid doesn't even have to be that fucking big to shit on us immensely.
The crater has yet to be located, but fragments from the impact have been found scattered across the eastern hemisphere, an expansive strewn field that covers up to 30% of the planet's surface.
Oh, that's interesting. Wow. Imagine finding this.
Our distant ancestors were not only alive to witness this event, but managed to adapt and survive. Impacts of this magnitude occur roughly once every 500,000 to 2 million years.
Yeah, like, it's just as big as almost the Burj Khalifa and already does insane damage.
Or devastating impacts, like the one that nearly wiped out the dinosaurs, are far less frequent.
That was a big motherfucker, man. 10 kilometers.
Possibly striking once every 100
That's a Mount Everest,
million
man.
years.
Hey.
Whether a collision of this magnitude is survivable is a matter of debate.
Quite scary, dude. Quite scary. Imagine that, dude. I know this is a very romanticized thought, but something I always fantasize about, which would be mind-blowing. Imagine you would be God and you could be an omnipotent observer. You could go wherever you want in the history of the universe and witness everything you want, like an observer. Imagine teleporting to that day and witnessing this. It must be a sight that you blow your brain out, man. Is that weird saying that? I very often fantasize about this.
The kinetic energy released upon impact would be equivalent to the simultaneous detonation of billions of atomic bombs. Those who survived the initial blast would be subjected to unrelenting earthquakes, firestorms, and tsunamis.
That really
A thick layer of smoke and dust would quickly envelop the globe and blot out the sun. An impact winter that could last for months or even years.
Check out, you guys have to watch
Darkness,
Greenland, man.
freezing cold, and global famine would throw the world into chaos. In spite of this, long-term survival is not inconceivable. Small pockets of humanity may take refuge underground and would at least be given a chance to rebuild civilization.
Greenland. The film is called Greenland. It's literally about this.
But make no mistake, it will be a close call.
You're gonna love it, man. Trust me. Great movie.
More than 90% of nearby asteroids and comets larger than 1 kilometer have already been detected. If one of them were on a collision course with Earth.
I once heard that the moon and especially the outer rim planets are mostly what defends us, which could be a great argument for the great filter, for the great silence theory. Why is there no aliens? Is there life in the universe? Another big point why Earth is so lucky inheriting Earth is the outer rim planets and the moon, which gravitational pull is pulling a shit ton of asteroids and comets away from Earth. Another great lucky happening for
even
planet
centuries
Earth
in
and the
advance.
race, man.
In 1983, a 9-kilometer wide comet was only spotted 2 weeks prior to its closest approach.
Oh man, fucking Muhammad Ali over here. Psych! What the fuck? That was scary. Hey, what? Wait.
Was only spotted 2 weeks prior to its closest approach. While things have significantly improved since 1983,
he was closer than
space
Venus.
Is impossibly vast. In 2019, an asteroid capable of leveling a city was detected a day before it flew 5 times closer to the Earth.
A day before? In which year? 2019. Wait, was it? Or is he just called 2019? No, July. You're telling me the human race did not see this asteroid one day before July 24th? America has so much military funding and shit and radar and stuff, but they can't see this one day early?
The Earth.
Come on.
Than the Moon. There is a class of objects known as Damocloids. Damocloids are typified by their highly eccentric orbits and low reflectivity, meaning they periodically pay us a visit and are extremely difficult to detect.
That's why they're hard to see.
We're currently tracking about 200, but there could be hundreds more tumbling through the solar system. Damocloids are, on average, 16 kilometers wide. If one of them were on a collision course with Earth, there might not be any warning.
Dude, imagine like, hey guys, this is the news, tomorrow we're all fucking dead. Dude, everybody would fucking rape and pillage, man. Everybody would go fucking... Dude, that news will destroy the planet in 10 minutes, man. In 10 minutes, everybody would go crazy. Maybe I'm wrong, though. I would think that a lot of people will go crazy and do bad stuff, and most people will just meet their family and have some nice final hours. You know, like you're sitting with your family, chilling, and in the outside, they're fucking burning everything.
When massive stars die, they explode.
Get a bike, live green. I want to spend my final hours on Earth riding the bike for 8 hours, man. All the stocks will crash.
If a star went supernova within 30 light years of Earth, it would be cause for concern.
Really?
Fortunately, more than 90% of the stars within this bubble have already been discovered, none of which are at risk of exploding anytime soon.
That's such an achievement.
But some supernovae can still pose a threat from thousands of light years away.
I don't believe that bullshit.
It's a gamma ray burst, produced by only the most violent explosions in the universe. Instead of a spherical blast, a gamma ray burst will channel the explosion into two highly concentrated beams.
It's hard to look at.
More energy is released in a few seconds than the sun will radiate in its entire lifetime. The biological effects of a nearby supernova or gamma ray burst are poorly understood. We do know that...
But does it actually take years until these waves actually arrive here?
The atmosphere would absorb much of the high-energy radiation, but this may also strip the Earth of its protective layer of ozone. If so, harmful levels of ultraviolet radiation from the sun...
If the planet still has a fucking vegetation, which we are soon not going to have anymore...
...penetrate down to certain chemical reactions may also darken the sky and induce global cooling, a cosmic winter of sorts. This could last for years, and would be lethal to many plants and animals.
Would be lethal to gingers. We would finally be winning.
A gamma ray burst might be responsible for a mass extinction that killed roughly 70% of all marine species, nearly half.
I'm obviously an idiot here, but how the fuck do scientists know when mass extinctions happen? What kind of system do you have to apply to know that 450 million years ago there was a mass extinction? Because of the biomass in the ground. The corona crash right here?
Now, humanity could easily protect itself against ultraviolet sun rays, but living through a mass extinction would not be a pleasant experience. While some authors have painted a far bleaker image, with one hemisphere effectively sterilized by intense radiation, these findings have been contested in recent years.
More dead animals in some layers.
The latest research identifies ozone depletion as the primary threat. Nevertheless, a gamma ray burst sniping the Earth from across the galaxy is extremely improbable. All of them have so far been extragalactic in origin, much too distant to pose a threat. While there are a few potential candidates within the Milky Way,
in about 6 months, right, this new space telescope is starting to make pictures, man, that are like dozens of times better than the Hubble pictures. Very excited for that. In our lifetime, we're gonna see some crazy pictures with that new telescope. The James Webb telescope, yeah.
Apart from impact events and stellar explosions, the foreseeable future is free of cosmic threats. Other eventualities are either too improbable or won't happen for millions of years. Yeah. Ample time for us to prepare.
Yeah, and also ample time for the human race, in my opinion, to really focus on what truly matters. Certain extinction threats that are coming at the moment, like, in my opinion, global warming, man.
Calamities permitting.
That's what we have to focus on. As I see this volcano, isn't it completely insane, guys, how quick our brains have gotten with the news? Does anyone still remember Afghanistan? 2 weeks ago, Afghanistan, the biggest thing ever. No one talks about it anymore. The news, none of it. Then the volcano in Palma has exploded, right? None of it anymore. Every news station in Germany, no one cares. It is insane How we just forget everything in a second, dude. Stuck in our own lives.
Around 74,000 years ago, a large volcano erupted in Southeast Asia. It is the most powerful volcanic eruption in human history.
Oh, really? Oh, it was right there? It made a lake.
For up to 2 weeks, it spewed enormous quantities of ash and dust into the atmosphere, enough to block out the sun
sources,
and potentially cool the planet.
All the idiots,
a volcanic winter. But there's great uncertainty about the effects of the eruption on both the climate and humanity. It ranges from severe to mild, with the latest research supporting the latter. In either case, this is good news. It means that supervolcanic eruptions pose little to no threat to human existence. After all, if early humans stood a chance, then so should we. But there is something even more destructive than supervolcanic eruptions. It's known as a flood basalt event. The largest one occurred 250 million years ago. An enormous outpouring of molten rock covered a region of Siberia the size of Europe. And it just so happens to coincide with the deadliest mass extinction in history. The good news is, flood basalt events are both rare and slow. Instead of a singular event, it's a series of eruptions taking place over thousands or even millions of years. As such, even if one began tomorrow, it might just be slow enough for us to adapt and survive. Throughout the centuries, pandemics have exacted a heavy toll on...
obviously, first of all, in the first chapter he talked about extraterrestrial or volcanic-based extinctions or apocalypses, which are obviously, you don't need to be genius to know that they are most rare. And yeah, I would think that pandemics are far, far more threatening, but not the most threatening. I would still think that the global warming event is still the most threatening of all.
Humankind. Among the worst was the Black Death. In less than a decade, it killed between 25 and 60% of the European population. The total death count is unknown, at least tens of millions.
If you were living... Dude, look at South Ireland. They did great, man. South Ireland just killing it, dude.
The Colombian exchange of diseases and the Spanish flu claimed the lives of many millions more. The tragedy of these pandemics and epidemics notwithstanding, they never came close to extinction. None of them killed more than a few percent of the global population.
Lost to rats? Isn't that wrong? It's not rats that brought the Black Plague. It was the fleas that were on the rats. And unfortunately, the people back then were too dumb to understand that it's the fleas. And putting all the corpses on the streets will just make these fleas more and more, and these fleas will just jump everywhere, man. They didn't understand what quarantining meant and stuff. Which was quite funny, right? The plague doctors... They were dressing up in that way to look like they had the beak, because in the front of the beak there was flowers to have a good smell. And they had like these, the leather armor. And actually that armor would literally help against the fleas. And plague doctors would far less likely get the Black Plague. And they didn't even understand why. They felt like they were chosen by God or some shit.
For instance, the Spanish flu infected nearly 1/3 of humanity. Yet the vast majority of cases did not result in death. A pathogen that not only infects but also kills every single member of a species is difficult to imagine. In fact, there are very few
I genuinely don't know. What is the current corona death toll? 5 million. That's a lot, man. Fuck. That's a lot, dude. USA by far the most fucked under Donald Trump back then.
It's not
How many people die of a flu each year? 36k, but if that's America, that means it's much less than 5 billion. Still though, you can't choose the wrong bias here, like the corona idiots, right? The reason corona only killed 5 million because countries actually did something against corona. So idiots that sit at home and like, well, only 5 million died, it could have been worse, couldn't have been that bad. Yeah, it's because the governments did something about it, you retards, Alter.
For instance, pathogens that can pass between multiple species can be far deadlier than those limited to just one.
But I didn't see that, but
the
if that's true, yeah, then this whole
avian influenza,
retarded,
also known as the bird flu, is one such virus. So far, it's transmissible between humans and birds, but it can't sustainably spread among humans. However,
the problem with humans is humans as always are reactive, not proactive. Imagine a fantasy world in where we would have done nothing against COVID. Nothing against COVID, nothing. So many more will be dead, and that is a fact. And if you don't see that, you are just a dumb man. A dumb, and you probably shouldn't be on the internet.
Laboratory experiments have shown that it may eventually acquire this ability through natural mutations. If so, it could easily become the worst pandemic in
Is this before Corona? Did he kind of predict Corona? No.
But even this horrifying proposition does not come close to extinction. In a worst-case scenario, most of humanity would still survive.
I will think chapter 3 is climate change to be the biggest threat of all.
Pandemics are complicated. It's a topic that's more relevant now than ever before and cannot possibly be done justice in a few short minutes. But in the narrow context of human extinction, it seems unlikely for nature to stumble upon that perfect storm. Apart from volcanic eruptions and natural pandemics, the Earth has no inherent means of eradicating the human race.
Humans have.
No other form of natural calamity is powerful enough to threaten our existence. As such, the most immediate threat to humanity has for a long time been, and continues to be, humanity.
Ourselves. Dude, yesterday I was so... Dude, I could be 10 years old or 50 years old. Yesterday, Lisa is screaming for me, right? And I'm going to the lobby room, and there's a mosquito. There's a mosquito flying around. And she gives me her t-shirt, and I'm trying to catch the mosquito. Then the mosquito is flying to a corner, and in that corner is a little spider. And the mosquito is flying right into the net, and the spider is like, ha! And fucking kills it, man. Just fucks him up. And it was so fucking interesting. I was standing there for 10 minutes. Watching that shit, man, how he was like making a puppet out of him, and then he put him away and he eats him later. And that spider literally killed a mosquito, and now I respect him. That guy can stay here. I will not kill that spider. These spiders will now fucking stay with us, man. Fucking kill the mosquito. I respect that boy, man. That's my boy.
While nature may struggle to devise a world-ending pandemic, it may not have to. Biotechnology has now advanced to a point where we can engineer pathogens in a laboratory.
There's Bond over here.
While this can greatly benefit our understanding and treatment of infectious diseases, it's not without risk. Accidental breaches of containment have happened on multiple occasions.
Yeah, it happened in China.
And these experiments are not always conducted in the name of science. These engineered microbes are concerning because their destructive potential far exceeds that of their natural
I think what's in your closet is you, bro.
They can be deadlier, more transmissible, and less treatable. And the rapid pace of technological progress is constantly lowering the threshold for bioengineering.
He said it in so many words, that a small group of dedicated scientists could create an altered biological agent that could wipe out humanity as we know it.
Technically speaking, you can do almost anything with a microbe. The real question is, will you end up with a microbe that functionally will do the things that the concerned person at your hearing said, namely, essentially wipe out everyone from the face of the earth? Again, that's conceivable, although it's inconceivable, but it is, in fact, anything is possible. It would be very, very difficult to do that, extraordinarily difficult, even in the best of hands, to not only do the engineering to get a microbe that has the characteristics, but be able to spread in a way in which it has virulence, transmissibility, and the ability to go in a sustained, transmissible way. Not impossible, but very, very difficult.
A nuclear holocaust is...
That shit is so scary to me, man. The human race should have never achieved that level. That shit is so fucking
among the most
insane.
Infamous doomsday scenarios.
Imagine seeing that with your own eyes. I was watching a documentary last year about American soldiers that were used to test nukes. They would blow up a nuke in the Pacific, and these soldiers will be on a boat far away, and then they will have to write on their experiences. And they would all say that they were supposed to put their hands in front of their eyes, and then the nuke blew off, and the radiation gave them X-ray scan. They had X-ray vision. They could see their bones and stuff. It's fucking insane, dude.
Since the end of World War II, we have on numerous occasions been driven to the brink of nuclear conflict. Sometimes by accident, sometimes by very intentional brinkmanship. The nuclear stockpile currently stands at more than 13,000 warheads, the vast majority of which...
Like, that is, dude, if... There's a lot of fucking issues on planet Earth, right, that we have to talk about, but the US and Russia, man, and also China and stuff, they should really start working on working against it. I saw a documentary, that actually a lot of nukes around the world are actually very old now. A lot of Russian and US nukes are so old and have not been, have not been looked into, that a lot of them don't even work anymore. Like, that documentary kind of said that a lot of these numbers are wrong, because a lot of the shit hasn't been touched for 50 years, and they are really They're not maintained. That's the word I'm not sure.
Are owned by Russia and the United States.
Yeah, nobody needs that shit.
In the event of an...
I understand that nukes are important to keep the world peace, that nobody goes too crazy, but you don't need 6,000.
All-out nuclear war,
this is not Man
these
Conquer.
thousands of bombs could instantly vaporize hundreds of millions. But the explosions are
we gonna
only
play
the
Fallout,
beginning.
guys? I think so.
The real danger of a nuclear conflict
in
is the aftermath. Much like an impact event or supervolcanic eruption, a thick layer of smoke and dust would quickly envelop the globe. A nuclear winter that not only blots out the sun, but showers the world in radioactive fallout.
A lot of computer tech related to nukes is from the 80s, which is good. The documentary said that. It is very good that a lot of technology in these nuke shelters is very old. Because if you would run nukes on Windows and stuff, some fucking hacker could hack it and go bam bam bam, adios. It's actually good that the nukes have bad technology, because it's not easy to be hacked.
Firestorms, radiation poisoning, and mass starvation could easily claim the lives of billions.
Windows XP New. Download an app and shoot.
However, because humanity is not evenly distributed across the planet, some regions will be less affected than others.
Update. No, you're trying to, okay, we have to nuke Russia, beep, boop, 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 and then Skype pops up. Hey, I'm Skype! Hey, you wanna use Skype? Oh, you're turning me off? No, I'm back! I'm Skype! Fuck you, man!
While the effects of a nuclear holocaust are almost too dismal to contemplate, it is not typically regarded as an existential threat.
Fuck.
Artificial intelligence.
AI is very interesting, man. AI is very... I was just reading a book about this this year. Homo Deus. When AI becomes a thing, especially when AI interconnects with humans, there's gonna... The whole world is gonna change so massively. Check out, if you're interested into realistic AI stuff, check out the book Homo Deus. Very famous book, man.
Has had a profound impact on modern society. From self-driving cars and virtual assistants to social media algorithms and facial recognition. But some experts are concerned about the future. A future in which intelligent machines become more intelligent than humans.
And in a weird way, I sometimes like to do this, even though it sounds maybe cringe. I sometimes like to take a step away from being a human and look from an objective ex ante position, meaning I'm looking at the situation without a human bias. Imagine it would happen that AI takes over the human race, like in the Matrix. In a weird way, if you think unhuman, it's just basic natural selection and evolution. If an alien looks at Earth, oh, look, Carl, all the humans died and now AI took over, he would just be like, well, Carl, that's how it works, you know? It's a step up. Obviously, that's hard for us to understand because we have a human bias. We're humans, we don't want to fucking die. But if you are objective about it, man, androids or AI would be better than humans. Look at humans. We kill this planet, we kill species. We are fucking idiots, man. We're complete idiots. Do you want 7 billion idiots or a bunch of AI that actually governs everything correctly and actually travels to space? Think about it.
The concern is not so much about evil robots as it is about misalignment. A misaligned intelligence is one that's not properly aligned with human goals and values. A system that becomes dangerous not due to any malicious intent, but due to an oversight in its programming, an unforeseen loophole that allows it to do things it was never intended to do.
You guys ever heard of self-learning AI? But if we programmed the AI, then You ever heard of self-learning? Do you know that when you make an account anywhere and you have to click on the buses and the traffic lights, you know that Google did that to teach their AI for their cause to handle traffic and to learn what humans and traffic lights are? You are literally helping them learn, man.
If such an entity was sufficiently intelligent, it could become unstoppable.
And in the future, they're gonna learn big time.
Another concern is known as the intelligence explosion. It's a machine that can upgrade itself and thereby increase its own intelligence at an exponential rate. Moments after creating such a system, it could far surpass the combined intelligence of all humans that have ever lived. Such an entity may have little...
Imagine AI Twitch streamers. I know a lot of Twitch streamers that seem like a robot without any emotions and soul.
...to no regard for human affairs, not unlike humanity's disregard for species less intelligent than us.
Why do we humans always act like we're so cool? We are treating every species that is not us like trash. What we're doing to other species comes close to a literal fucking holocaust, man. Even worse than a holocaust. How do we always think that the next big thing, which could be AI intelligence, has the morals to think the same? Like, do we deserve it? Look at us. Look at how we treat other species, man.
These concerns are far from universal. In 2016, a survey of more than 300 machine learning experts was conducted.
Program them with morals? What is moral? Do humans have morals? You still eat fucking meat?
On average, they gave a 50% chance of an artificial intelligence surpassing all human abilities by 2061.
Well, maybe not me, I'm old.
But as you can see
2061. Am I alive in 2061? That's 40 years. I'm gonna be 70. I can see that, I guess.
from these faded lines in the background, there's tremendous variation between individual respondents. Some think it will happen in a few years, others believe we're more than a century away. When asked about the impact of this technology, the majority of respondents believed in a positive outcome.
Yeah, like, why not?
Extinction was only given a medium probability of 5%. Artificial intelligence is not the only emerging technology with the potential for human extinction. But the problem with assessing their risk is that we have no precedents. We can estimate the likelihood of an asteroid impact by surveying the geologic record and our cosmic neighborhood, but there's no historical context for artificial intelligence or self-replicating nanomachines.
Guy just put Saracon on it.
When the first nuclear device was detonated in 1945, there was a genuine concern that it would ignite the atmosphere and incinerate all life on the planet. In fact, one of the observers was so taken aback by the enormity of the explosion that for a brief moment, that's precisely what he thought had happened. While this doomsday scenario did not come to pass, it's a cautionary tale. No one really knows what the future will bring.
But
all we can do is proceed with caution
climate change?
And hope for the best.
There you go.
Over the past few decades, species across the plant and animal kingdoms have been disappearing at an alarming pace. Some 10 billion trees are cleared every single year, while animal populations are rapidly declining. The global rate of extinction is now tens or even hundreds of times greater than before humans conquered the planet, and it's accelerating. Upwards of 1 million species are now threatened with extinction. At the core of this immense loss of biodiversity is overconsumption driven by overpopulation. Humanity is now depleting 3/4 as many resources as the Earth can naturally replenish, meaning we will soon need a second Earth just to break even. From deforestation and defaunation to pollution and climate change, no shocking graph nor depressing slideshow can fully convey the totality of our destruction. Our relationship with nature is so utterly broken that many fear we are now heading for extinction. While some of the most comprehensive assessments to date do indeed paint a truly dystopian image of the future, none of them forecast total annihilation of the human race. We may turn the planet into a living hell, but a livable hell it would seem. Some scientists argue that these assessments are severely underestimating the gravity of this crisis, that the sheer magnitude of our destruction is difficult to grasp for even well-informed experts. Some have also voiced their concerns about potential tipping points, a threshold that once exceeded may trigger an irreversible decline of ecosystems around the world, a global ecological collapse from which recovery becomes virtually impossible. It's not all doom and gloom. While the rate of deforestation is alarmingly high, it has been slowing down over the past 3 decades. While the transition has been infuriatingly slow, more and more countries are phasing out fossil fuels in favor of renewable energy.
I know you don't want to hear this, but I'm saying it as it is. I'm not afraid. I'm proud of Germany lately. I'm proud that the new government of Germany has Greens in it, and these guys are they're trying their fucking best, man. They're trying, and Germany is starting to really go a good way now with this stuff. Slow as always, but stuff is happening slowly.
So in no way should human extinction, which is the most extreme outcome, be regarded as inevitable. Climate change mitigation and nature conservation efforts are all but certain to prevent that from happening. But at the same time, that's how low we've set the bar.
The Pacific garbage patch. If you live in West America, there's probably your toothbrush in here. When you see this, we are lucky that aliens didn't fucking come for us yet. If aliens see this, they should come here and fuck us over, man, for what we're doing with this planet. But you don't see it. You don't see it. It's not in front of your door, so you don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. That's what we are, man.
What surprised me while making this video is just how difficult it is to truly wipe out everyone. Many catastrophes can drive us to the brink of extinction, but all of them struggle to...